Hello and welcome to the City of Farmington and San Juan County Business Response Team webinar and live Facebook feed on the PPP and EIDL loans and how to apply for those. This is a timely and important webinar offered to you in order to help with businesses looking to apply for funding, forgivable loans and grants to assist in these difficult times that we're facing with the COVID-19 crisis. We thank you for joining us in this live call. There will be time for Q&A shortly, and you can leave your comments and questions on Facebook there, and we'll be monitoring those closely. But to get you things started, we want to introduce you to some resource partners. And really the key behind this particular meeting that we're hosting is to bring to you the local resource partners and people that are in the trenches in this process. The lenders and the resource providers locally that are going to be able to help you with applying for these loans and grants, and that can get you information to your burning questions as things are ever evolving. Again, my name is Warren Unsicker. I'm the Director of Economic Development for the City of Farmington. I'm joined here today by numerous partners. And to start with, I'm going to introduce you to our resource partners. We have Don Faca with the Women's Business Center West. We have Carmen Martinez with the Small Business Development Center of New Mexico. And we also have Dr. Lorenzo Reyes with the Workforce Development Center at the San Juan College. And they're going to be sharing with us some of the resources they provide at the Quality Center for Business at San Juan College. Anyone who's in small business that needs assistance or that's looking to start a business, this is the place to start. And likewise, if you're in growing a business or in cases like these, looking to find financing for your business, it's also a great place to start because they can help introduce you to government and SBA loans as well as other mechanisms to help grow your business. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to this trio of experts that can really share with you the ins and outs of the Paycheck Protection Program and the Economic Injury Development Disaster Loan, or EIDL, and share with you a little bit of how to apply and what to expect through the process. And again, just so everyone's aware, this is an ever-evolving process. The SBA, the federal government, all the agencies are working on a daily basis to make sure this is as efficient and user-friendly as feasibly possible. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and unmute our speakers here and let them begin sharing with you some of what's going on with these important programs.
Hello. So I will start off with talking about the economic injury and disaster loans. Those you apply directly with the Small Business Administration, and it will be a loan at 3.5%. We have not received any funding on those yet. We believe that SBA is waiting for the final rulings on the process that they need to follow. But both Don and I can help you in going through that application process as needed. Dawn?
Sorry. Hi, this is Dawn. Yes, we are partnering with Carmen at the Small Business Development Center. West does have a loan program. However, we are not a 7A lender, so we cannot participate in some of the loan programs. However, we do have existing loan clients, past and present, and we will work with those individuals to reduce, payment options, loan extensions, whatever that may be. But we also will offer the one-on-one consultations to help you navigate the systems if need be, because they can be a little bit confusing and overwhelming. So we will help you streamline those as much as possible.
Hello. Thank you for the opportunity to participate in this webinar. I wanted to remind our business community the San Juan College is here to help you navigate different loans and funding opportunities that are available for small businesses. In addition to the funding that Carmen mentioned, we also have obviously the Paycheck Protection Program that is part of the stimulus package that was prepared, which was approved by the President.
And so we do offer at nmsbdc.org, we do offer webinars on a daily basis on both of these programs, the Paycheck Protection Program and the Economic Injury Disaster Loan. So I'm going to actually let the lenders guidance on the PPP. That is done directly through your local bank, and we do encourage you as a business owner, everyone that I talk to, I encourage them to go to the bank that they already have a relationship with, because there are certain rules and processes that they have to follow as well in order to be able to make these loans for you.
Absolutely. And thank you for clarifying that, because that is important. That having that existing banking relationship really does help with the process. And so with that too, Carmen and Dawn and Dr. Reyes, can you share a little bit about how those two programs interact a little bit? Because the EIDL, or Economic Injury Disaster Loan, and the Paycheck Protection Program do have some interactivity to a degree to reduce double dipping, is what the SBA and the government are calling it, but also to access the full range of resources available.
So a business owner is able to apply for both of those loans. The PPP is meant to help you get through the next 8 weeks, to hire your employees back if you had to let some of them go. And there's certain documentation that you have to have in order to get that forgiveness from the SBA. Remember that forgiveness is going to be from the SBA, not from your bank. So it is whatever documentation that they are requiring. The Economic Injury Disaster Loan, right now there's a element of it that you can get up to $10,000 as an emergency fund. Again, none of those have been funded because the regs aren't in place yet, is what we're thinking. I'm not 100% sure. So that's up to $10,000. If you do get some of those funds, that is going to be taken away from the Paycheck Protection Program. So let's say you do get $10,000, you cannot get forgiven for $10,000 if that was also used for payroll. So the intent of this financing is for the future. So when the SBA finally gets around to asking you what your loan amount is, and for all the further documentation, right now it's a very streamlined application. Once they get around to that, this is at the time when Don and I can help you in figuring out, okay, what is it that we're going to need to get through this? In 8 weeks, we don't know, or when, we don't know where we're going to be. So what does the business look like? What is it that we need to invest in the business to be able to make it sustainable in the future?
Well, I think also the other difference is the amount of money that you can borrow. If you use the payroll, the Paycheck Protection Act, or the EIDL, the amount of funding under the PPP is could be up to $10 million versus the other one that is only limited to $2 million. One thing that, again, that is important to remind our business community is that this could be forgivable loans. And so the more, the other thing obviously that is very critical for us is to make sure that, they begin the process to applying for these loans as soon as possible, because the funding is going to go very, very fast.
And that is really the linchpin of why we're hosting this today, is because the program went live just last week, very late in the week, and it was already being touted that this was going to be a limited time opportunity because the funding is going to go quickly. Businesses throughout the nation are applying as quickly as possible for these programs, especially the Paycheck Protection Program. Now, we do know that the federal government is examining re-upping or adding to these programs, but it's better to be getting in on the front end of and getting in the queue, so to speak, and not waiting on the next round of funding to find out if you're going to be able to access the funding now. So, and again, feel free to chime in and correct me if I'm wrong. But
and the PPP will open, I believe, for sole entrepreneurs on Friday, on the 10th is when that's supposed to open.
Right.
Very good.
And then I know West is putting information on their Facebook and their website on a daily basis, and trying to kind of streamline some of that technical language and make it user-friendly. So if you don't follow that or have access to it, please contact our office and we'll get you connected so at least you can get that information on a daily basis that's coming out.
And that is key too. And if you feel like you're being webinared out or information overload, it's for reasons, because it changes daily. I've sat through more webinars than I'd like to count, and each one has new information and things change from day to day. And so we're trying to collect that information as quickly as we can too, to share with you, the public and the business owners of our community. So do check back to our website and Facebook page as we pump that information out as quickly as it comes in.
Warren, you brought up a very important point that we would like to remind our business community is that to please visit us at our website at www.sanjuancollege.edu/SBDC, so that there's plenty of information about the different programs available. Also, as you mentioned before, there's this petition that more funding will be available. So we will be updating our webpage to reflect all the changes and funding opportunities that are available to our business community.
Excellent. New funding sources keep coming out from both the state and the Fed, and likewise, these ones are ever evolving. So please do keep apprised, but time is of the essence, and that is why we're hosting this today, is to make sure that you have every opportunity to not only apply for those loans, but also have an opportunity to be able to get your questions answered before you fill out the forms and get that information. So,
And do you want me to answer this question, Warren?
please.
So Eddie, since the rules are not official yet, that loan that you're asking about, since you have a confirmation number, you're in the queue, you can reach out to them at the 1-800 number or at the email address with that confirmation number. But it is my understanding that funding will not take place until SBA has their rules in place, which is supposed to happen tomorrow, but we're not certain on that. Yeah. So do not expect, and I'm telling people that it's going to be probably 3 weeks before the SBA actually contacts you, because imagine all the people in that queue in front of you that started this process a month ago, that they're just going to have to go down the line. So just get your documents ready.
And the SBA and all these agencies are hiring people as quickly as they can to field these applications. I think what is it, 60 billion that they usually process in loans per year, or somewhere in that realm. And this is far and away above what they are used to processing in a normal period. So they're feverishly trying to process those applications as much as we are trying to help get people in the queue. So.
Right.
Well, very good. Well, and we'll keep looking for questions. And thank you for that first question, Eddie. We get the ball rolling on that, and we're here, and we'll be here to answer those questions ongoing. But unless Dawn, Carmen, Dr. Reyes, anything else to share before we move on and allow the bankers to share a little bit of how they're processing and working through these loans as they're coming to their plate?
One, just to mention again the difference between the two different programs. One of them, the EIDL program. This program, the interest rate is very low. It's between 3.75% and it could be, from 2.75% to 3.75%. The PPP, the payable is less than 0.5%. Also, to pay back the loan, it could take up to 2 years, and the EIDL, you're allowed up to 30 years to repay the loan. However, these are forgivable loans if you comply with the requirements of the loan. So that's something else to keep in mind.
Yeah, the PPP being the forgivable, whereas the EIDL is, or the economic injury disaster loan, is just a low interest, long-term loan, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah, and so it really is the application of the funding that differentiates these. The PPP really does dictate that you apply those funds to rehiring or keeping on staff and paying their wages versus the EIDL being a little bit wider and broader scope of what you can spend that money on. Carmen, is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
That's correct. Yes.
Very good. Yeah, so and there are great overviews of each of these loans on the page that Dr. Reyes mentioned at San Juan College at the SBDC. And so it will have side-by-side overviews of what the differentiations between the interest rates, the term, as well as whether they're forgivable or not. Now, that $10,000 that is a part of the EIDL is a grant, but the remainder, the actual loan that you would receive is not forgivable. But the forgivable $10,000 will be wrapped into your Paycheck Protection Program if you use that for payroll, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's a lot to digest, and that's again why there's so many resources out right now and so many people trying to get you the information in your hands and readily available. So anything else? Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and insight on this.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Well, with that, and again, don't worry if you didn't get a chance to ask your question. Our speakers will be here for the duration of the time. We're going to open it up to our banker community here. I'm pleased to have Bonita Tillerson with Citizens Bank. We likewise have CEO of Four Corners Community Bank, Sheila Matthews, as well as Chrisana Medina of Bank of the Southwest. With that, I'm going to hand it over to you all to share a little bit about what you are doing to help with these loan processes.
Great.
Yeah, Benita, feel free to go ahead.
Okay, this is Sheila Matthews at Four Corners Community Bank. So first and foremost, just a shout out to our first responders. They are absolutely on the line every day, keeping our community healthy. The bankers are definitely the first responders in keeping our economy healthy. So shout out to all of us that are bankers, and we're doing the best we can with everything we do, and the program's changing every day. So as far as the application process, I'm sorry, can't see you. Oops, just a second. Can't see you.
That's all right. We're just working out some video issues here.
Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. Thank you. So technical difficulty, sorry. Anyway, so the application process, it is, the Paycheck Protection Program. We jumped in full throttle, so our team has just been amazing. So we started, about a week, 10 days prior to it being launched on April the 3rd. So we were ready to go. So we started processing that morning at 5 a.m. So we have processed 239 apps. We processed them and have them actually approved, a little under $50 million. So we've done phenomenally well. Our staff is a little weary. We work in morning, noon, and night. The application process is fairly simple for the business customer. So there's a borrower application, and with that, there are just some required forms. Again, keeping in mind, this is for payroll protection. So we're looking for your 940s, your 941s, a W-3, any payroll records, and then the employer parts are pieces of the health insurance or retirement that they pay on behalf of their employees. We can get that calculation put together. It's fairly short and sweet, and we can move it along through the pipeline. And we have funded just under $15 million in loans. So we've got money in our customers' hands. So they are out there and absolutely putting, our people back to work. So it's, most important to us is keeping the business healthy in our community. So again, the applications, you can find them on our website at thebankforme.com or call us. Any of us have access. We can directly email you the docs. But it is short and sweet on the employer side. Most of them are using their accountants to prepare some information on the 940, 941 on payroll side. So fairly short and sweet process and application. I wish everyone well. It's definitely there to utilize and keep the employees employed. And so if you have any questions, call us anytime. Like I said, we're typically here from at least 6 in the morning to 7, 8 o'clock at night right now, working weekends.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And thanks to all of our bankers out there that are feverishly processing all of these loans as all the businesses are running to take advantage of these programs.
One more thing. I'm sorry. One last comment, and then I'll turn it over to Benita. And based on our numbers, we do have, the application requires the number of FTEs put in per business. So we are monitoring and calculating that. Based on our numbers and the loans processed and granted and now SBA guaranteed, we have saved over 5,500 jobs since Friday.
Wow.
So we're excited. I think we're running on adrenaline. So there you go. I'll turn it over to the next person.
Benita, did you want to take on?
Sure. So thank you, Sheila. We are all in the trenches. We are all doing everything we can to get this money in the hands of our business owners. They are desperate for some guidance and some hope. And, that's the goal of all of the financial institutions in our community is we want to do the right thing for them. And we want to get the money to them as quickly as possible. The rollout of the program had a few little squeaky wheels in it when it first rolled out, but I think they've been able to work through it. Kudos to Jerry Walker and John Garcia with the SBA district office. She was right, we get changes daily, almost hourly. So some of the things that, we are just rolling with the flow. I mean, if it changes, okay, we'll go this direction. Some of the things that we did, the original application didn't include, and we've had to go back and ask the borrowers for some of this information. So maybe this will be helpful for them if they're in the process of applying now. Part of the SBA process does include a financial statement, a balance sheet, and a profit and loss. And a lot of small business owners, especially the sole proprietorships, they don't have that. So that's been a little challenge for them. We're recommending they reach out to their accountants, to Carmen and her group over at, the SBDC. There's lots of resources out there. All of the banks are working diligently, nights, weekends, early mornings, late nights, all of that. We are processing applications as quick as possible. Very, very pleased with the approval process through the SBA website. I mean, you get almost an instantaneous approval. So that, I think, is really good for the borrower because they're asking, did it get approved? Did it get approved? Yes, you're approved. We're going to get you funded here in just a day or so, and you're going to be good to go. So I think that part of it is encouraging. Initially, I think a lot of people were worried that, the $549 billion in dollars assessed for this or assigned for this, we're going to run out the day it went live. Pleasantly, we haven't seen that. So obviously, all the banks are up and running. They're all, getting their loans in the queue. And so we definitely don't want to delay. We want to get our applications in as quickly as possible. So those of you out there that are working on those, try to get your information together. Remember that we're here for you. We're all in this together. We're a team. All of the community banks. I mean, we all want to do what's right for our customers. And, in many instances, we're helping customers that can't go to their local bank because their local bank isn't participating. So lots of different emotions going on out there, and we just want to reassure our business customers that we're all here to take care of you, and we're going to do what's right, and we're going to make sure that we get the documentation from you to make sure your guarantee's in place, make sure we haven't jeopardized or missed anything for you. That's what we want, and so we are. This is the fun part, the part where you're having to gather all the information and just that's a lot of work. We're all tired, but it's fun to get the money in the hands of our borrowers and see them be excited about having some hope. So we really appreciate you, Warren, for putting this on, and thank you for allowing Citizens Bank to be a part of this. We very much are invested in our community, and we just want to keep moving forward.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And we do have a few questions. I see we'll get to those in just a moment here. We'll
Okay.
hand it over to Chrisana and let her from Bank of the Southwest share a little bit of how they're processing these loans and what they're seeing.
Thank you, Warren. Bill and Sheila covered a lot of it. We are working late hours and doing everything we can to get our customers' responses as quick as possible. And our fellow community bankers know that SBA has cut out a lot of the paperwork, a lot of the documentation that they would normally require for a regular 7A or a 504 loan. For us, the process is similar, just the application and making sure the entire packet with your financials and the documents required for the employer expenses is in the packet. But so far, for us, it's been a quick turnaround from getting applications to getting our customer the funds they need for the next 8 weeks.
Wonderful. Well, we do have a couple questions for you all. Melissa Silva Montoya, if you apply for the disaster loan, do you have to take the money right away or can you decline the money? Actually, that might be a question for Carmen.
That would be a Carmen question.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the disaster loan, so if you apply for the up to 10,000 emergency grant, that is going to be put into your bank account. So unless you return it, I don't know how you would do that. But when the SBA does contact you for the funding of the loan, at that point, you're going to request the amount and then you're going to provide the other documentation that they haven't asked you yet, that you can deny that loan. If you are approved, you can say, you know what, I don't need it at this point, and you don't have to take the loan.
But you can't keep the 10,000 and wrap that into your paycheck protection program, correct?
Yes.
And can I add something to that?
Please.
I just want to remind everyone out there that that particular product is direct with SBA. That does not involve your local lender. And in most instances, because of the delay in that funding, most of our paycheck protection loan programs, most of those borrowers haven't received any money from the EIDL loan to roll into the PPP loans. So in most instances, it's almost separate. But if they have received it, they do need to roll that into the PPP loan.
And Carmen, this actually raises a question I've had from a few folks is if you do then, like say, after you've received the PPP and are utilizing that for payroll, if you receive that 10,000, can that be utilized for other expenses within your business, or do you have to then wrap that into payroll as well?
No, you can use it for other expenses because this particular loan, like I said earlier, is much more long-term, and it's going to be for the sustainability of your business going forward.
Very good. Next question we've got, can you cover options for independent contractors from LANA?
I can take that. Basically, what we would do is direct him to go to the SBA website, or I think we all have the links on our home pages for our bank websites. There's specific information in there. And then what I would suggest he do is if he has questions about that, once he sees that information, and I mean, it's all right there under paycheck protection, reach out to Carmen. She can help you. Reach out to her team, because there's specific things as, you know, an independent contractor is different. And so there's certain things they can include and certain things they can't. And Carmen and her team will be happy to help them get the package ready so they can get it to the bank.
Warren, we were notified that the rules for sole proprietors are going to be released tomorrow. So we should have that information. SBA sent an email this morning letting us know that the rules will be for sole proprietors and individual businesses. Those will be issued tomorrow.
Wonderful. And that is a response to, I believe, Anita's question, correct?
Yeah, and just a comment here is those applicants have not been able to apply, and that application process will start tomorrow. So if you were an independent contractor,
lending contractor. So it covers that, those 3 separate groups.
Very good. And it looks like we have one more question here. Greg asked, what's the time estimate or the time frame after you have been placed in the queue for the Paycheck Protection Program?
And I can take that also. So just, again, once it's a completed application, from the date of the disbursement, let me back up. So the date of approval, so the bank has 10 days from the date of approval to process and get the money to the customer. So 10 days is the longest waiting period. We're hoping it's something significantly shorter. And then of course the clock starts ticking from the day of disbursement. The 8-week time period starts ticking from the date of disbursement.
And that's the 8 weeks of payroll that you're using that Paycheck Protection Program for. So,
that's correct. That's correct.
and you'll notice in the application it has a 2.5 calculation of your total payroll. And I believe that 0.5 there is really for you to do other expenses, correct, Carmen? I believe it's up to 25% of the total amount that you receive.
Yes, could be used for rent, utilities, and other things like that.
And it can, I'm sorry, it can also be used for payroll if they choose to just use it for payroll.
Wonderful. And then let's see, I have a question from Terry. Is there funding in place for these loans? Are we still waiting to see if the funding will be allocated to by the federal government? So I think that is a yes, there is funding right now, right up until it runs out.
That's correct. That's correct.
Very good. Any other questions out there? And feel free, like I say, if we have some straggle in, we'll rope them back in as we move through the process here. But and any other additional comments from you all, Chrisana, Sheila, Bonita?
And I would just kind of wrap it up, just saying, as the other bankers have, is get the applications in. Again, that the clock is ticking. I believe the money will run out, so it's kind of first come, first served. Get you in the queue, get you approved, and then, like I said, well, kind of the times it's definitely time sensitive, and if you need it, that's what this is here for. It's just not a handout. It is to keep our economy healthy. So please apply.
Wonderful. Anything else?
I think we all are ready and willing to help those business owners out there. And like Sheila said, don't waste any time. Get your applications in and let us start to help you.
Very good.
Warren, I got one question.
Please.
For the lenders and for Carmen. What about, I've been getting some questions here from people I've been speaking with. What about those businesses that are on the reservation? Are there certain things that they might be eligible for, or is there a way that they might be able to gain access to this assistance? Like there are businesses in Shiprock right now that are in the same situation as businesses in Farmington and in the county?
So the economic injury disaster loan is available to all businesses. The lending, the banking question, I would defer to the lenders on that.
According to the rules that we are aware of, any tribal entities, along with any business entities, are eligible. So please, regardless of location, just reach out to us. We'll research it the best we can. But for the most part, it is a very open, just about everybody's been eligible that we've just had a conversation with. So please, please give us a call.
Okay, thank you.
Wonderful. And again, the questions abound right now, and we're trying to meet them as quickly as we can and assist everyone that has any questions. Oh, here's one more from Lana. What specific expenses other than payroll can the EIDL be used for? Carmen, can you?
So EIDL can be used for everything else. So you have rent commitments. And it says on the date as of, I believe it was February 15th, any expenses that you're committed to for the business. So rent, interest on your mortgage, if you have a mortgage, all those kind of things, utilities, anything else to keep the business going. So it cannot be used to expand the business, to do other things with it, just to keep the current business that you have going.
Warren, according to the information that we received, you can use this for all operating expenses. But as Carmen mentioned, has to be current operating expenses, including inventory, payroll, rent, all of those things. So, yes, all of your operating expenses.
Okay. I have a couple more questions here. Lisa Webb, are funds going to be nationally dispersed, or is each state only getting so much, like the gig unemployment yesterday that was limited to a certain number of people?
Is that related to paycheck protection or the idle loan?
I think that was a general question about some of the funding, because I know there's also unemployment funding out there that
Correct.
is being considered. I think it's more of, is this national money, or is it state by state being allocated in lump sums to each state, as if I understand the question correctly?
Well, from the SBA standpoint, I don't think it has to do with state by state. Now, our state of New Mexico definitely has some funds that they've set aside for other programs. And so there is some state funding out there, but the SBA doesn't involve a block of money for the state of New Mexico. It's a national funding.
It's a federal allocation.
Yeah. So it's across the board. It's nationwide.
Correct.
Perfect. And then Ken asks, my company has 2 employees / owners that receive salary as quarantine payment, or I think
Guaranteed.
the guaranteed payment. I was going to say it looked like quarantine. Will this disqualify us from the PPP?
We need to look at their 941 payroll. I mean, we have to look at the whole package, and we can, go from there, if you will. It's hard to give a yes or a no with that piece of information.
Just as a general rule, though, it have anything to do with the way that if you're W-2'd, or if you're a different type of employee, even if you're an owner?
Well, owners draw salaries, and so salaries can be capped at 100,000. So even highly compensated owners that draw a salary of 130,000, they can keep up to 100. So as long as they're being paid a salary and they're doing their, 940s, 941, and paying all the other taxes, I mean, those monies can be included.
Perfect.
Okay.
And then Albert asks, where do I find out if my SBA was approved? Do I call SBA directly, or is there someone here I can talk with?
Contact the banker.
Yeah.
Well, if it's the idle loan, you do need to talk to the SBA directly. So there's a 1-800 number on that application that they filled out, as well as and of course I should remember this, there's an email, disastercustomerservice@sba.gov. So you need to email them with your confirmation number if it is an idle loan.
If it's a PPP loan, call your bank.
Perfect. Very good. Well, with that, we'll keep watching out for more questions, but we're going to do a quick little overview with myself and another economic development professional in the community, Arvin Trujillo, CEO of Four Corners Economic Development. We're just going to talk a little more broadly about the business assistance resources and some of what we've been seeing in the business community. So with that, Arvin, if you want to dive in a little bit and tell them about some of the things you've been seeing in the business community.
Yes. Looking at where we are right now, we do see a lot of questions coming through. We do see a lot of information out there. As Warren indicated, both him and I are, as long as these other folks here on the call, we're all inundated with information. And it seems like this information changes almost by the hour in some cases. And so again, everything is fluid right now, but what we're doing here and what this response team is working on is coordinating all our efforts and bringing it into one area so we can do things like this to bring information out to you, the business owners, and the overall community as a whole, so that we can bring the best information available to you as you go through your application processes, as you look at how you're going to utilize the dollars, and also what other programs may be coming down, because again, this is one phase of what the federal government is anticipating may be maybe another or maybe a couple more phases as we look at what's going to be happening in terms of keeping the jobs and keeping the businesses that are in place right now. And, you know, there's been a lot of discussion about this whole effort. A lot of people have been kind of saying, well, this is a stimulus. This is not a stimulus process. This is basically a retention process to keep the businesses that we do have in place operational. It's to keep our current employees employed. And there are a number of ways that you can look at that employment. And that's one thing, again, I would like to stress to you, is that as you bring your employees on, it's not a matter of bringing them on and having them sit. There's a number of things you can do within your companies to get things in place in anticipation of the businesses reopening. Are there things that you need to get in place? Are there things you need to repair? Are there things you need to kind of upgrade as you begin to look at this? Also, you may even want to think about, what do we look in going into the future? Given the fact that right now there's discussions that this may be a cyclic kind of event and challenge that may be coming down because we don't have a vaccine, we don't have a number of other things in place from the health aspects. What happens again in the fall and in the winter period? Should we be able to arrest some of the concerns and the challenges right now? Will this reoccur? Maybe there are some things that your business can do in anticipation of that. But again, what we're doing here is bringing this information together, working with all these different people. And the thing that I'd like to say and commend Farmington, San Juan County, the college, all these bankers and the individuals here that are part of the response team, is that we're coming together as a team looking at this and saying, what do we do to help our local businesses? And what do we do to help those that have questions? And what resources are available? And how do we best assist so that you are successful in participating and seeing some of the benefits that are coming down from the federal government? There are even some benefits coming down from the state that we can take a look at and help you with. So again, this is something that I feel real strongly about. Warren and I, along with everybody else here, we've been working hard to try to keep this all together. And we have to say that sometimes we're just like you. We get inundated with this information. I get questions from people that I'm like, okay, let me go find out. And it seems like at some points when I give the answer, I go into another webinar and then find out it's changed again. And so again, that's kind of where we're at right now. But again, be patient as we go through this process. And again, the federal government and the state governments are bringing together general programs and initiatives. And what I tell people is that's truly beneficial to us, but the devil is in the details. And so as we start coming down to where we're working these applications and working through the details, that's where we've got to really work hard, and we want to work in partnership with each and every one of you as business owners as well as employees. So again, we look forward to continuing this effort. And there are, as you can see, there are a number of resources available in the county here that we're tapping into, and we hope to continue that effort. Warren?
Wonderful. Yeah, and as Arvind mentioned, there's just so many moving pieces right now that we're just trying feverishly to keep all that information in your purview as business owners and parts of the community. And then likewise, too, there are other programs beyond the federal programs that are coming about. The New Mexico Economic Development Department has been putting out information on several of their loan programs that they have that are near-term opportunities through the state itself as opposed to the SBA. I just saw one come out yesterday, and it kind of hiccuped a little bit, and hopefully it will be available again today, is a $750 grant to independent contractors and sole proprietors that are looking for just a quick influx of cash. They have 2,000 of those available through the Department of Workforce Connections. That's at jobs.state.nm.us. And so those hopefully will be available today. They said they'd post when their system's back online. Apparently the interest was so great it broke the internet again. It seems to happen a lot where the internet websites are going down. The SBA had some issues a couple weeks ago, but I think they've gotten theirs back up and running. So we want to make sure we're helping your businesses thrive through this process, including up to how do we help certain businesses that can sell their products online find ways to do that. There are so many mechanisms and avenues by which to sell products online and share them with your customer base. Even if you don't even have a website, you only have a Facebook page, Facebook has mechanisms in which you can sell straight through them. And so with partners like Square and Shopify and others that provide credit card processing, you can quickly move to a digital format for your business. And so there's all kinds of opportunities. And as Arvin mentioned, taking advantage of this time when you may have everyone back on your payroll but don't necessarily know what to do with them, come up with creative ways to fortify and make your business even stronger coming out of this process. And it's a great opportunity to do that and utilize that workforce that may have, some of their job functions may be on hold, but they can find other creative ways to really make your business that much better. Even if it's just as far as customer service level type things that they can do in interacting with your customer base. So with that, I'm going to go back to our question and answer here, unless there's anything else, Arvin, you wanted to add from your end?
No, I'm fine.
Wonderful. Donna kind of asked, what about funding for small farms? Any assistance for them?
I just received some documentation from the Lead Center this morning that yes, if they qualify for the size standards, as far as the SBA funding is concerned, that they should be eligible for the PPP and EIDL loan.
Very good. Jeanette asks, is there a low interest business loan to apply for immediate funds while waiting for the disaster relief grant? Immediate is a strong word right now.
Right, yes.
Instant. Instant, yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think there is a lot of lag right now just because of the sheer amount of interest and inquiry that it really is dependent on where you are in the queue and what application or program you're applying for. Like I say, I think that there's a lot of programs out there, but the timelines are in flux. I know the EIDL grant was supposed to be out 3 days after you applied, supposedly. Yeah. It's been weeks now for many people, and they've not seen that money come through yet. So it's a little bit up in the air at this point as to what instantaneous looks like right now for both loan and grant programs that are happening right now. And please correct me if I'm wrong, anyone. But that's what I'm seeing on the ground.
Right on.
Kim asked, do you have a checklist for what we need in the process for EIDL and PPP? I'm finding myself getting confused in the process, and you're not the only one. There's thankfully the EIDL is a lot simpler on the front end. It only takes about 10 minutes to fill out that application online. It doesn't ask for a lot of financial data. The PPP asks for a little bit more, but I'll go ahead and let Carmen answer on the EIDL and our bankers answer the PPP question.
So on the EIDL, I'm going by the documentation that was required during the upload process that lasted about 2 days before that website crashed again. So that's what we're recommending that you have put together, the SBA Form 5, which is the loan application, and we can get that to you. Your personal financial statement, it's very much like any other loan documentation. Your sales, your financials, your tax returns, all that information.
Very good.
Do you want me to
Sure.
answer the other? So for the payroll or paycheck protection program, they can go. All of our banks have the links on our home pages. They can also go to SBA.gov, and that will take them to the paycheck protection page, and it is very specific about here's the application, here's the information. It's a great user-friendly. It's a little tile you check on, and then there's also a tile for the EIDL loan. So, worst case scenario, if they don't know where to go, tell them sba.gov, and click on coronavirus, and it will get them there. And there's a lot of good information out on that website.
Also, another website that's really good to go to is the treasury.gov/cares. And there's about a 20-page Q&A that is just phenomenal on a lot of these questions that may be surfacing online. So that's another site to visit if you want detailed answers.
And then also, if they want to call our number, we have a local number at the San Juan College, the SBDC office. The number is 505-566-3528. So we have people that are answering the phones, and they can talk to them directly and guide them through the whole process.
And can you repeat that number, Dr. Reyes?
It's 505-566-3528.
Perfect. And again, that's another key reason why we're having this, is that you do have local resources and people you can talk to directly that you see on this call that can help you with this and really answer your questions more efficiently than waiting on a call with the SBA, number 800 in line for a call. And so we do, that's a lot of why we're hosting this call today, and hope that it does meet your needs. I have one more question here, and as we are getting close to the end of our time here, Esmeralda and Jesus asked, do churches and private schools qualify?
Churches,
Yes,
yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, no, you're fine. Go ahead. Churches do qualify for the Triple P program or the PPP program, and we have funded, I think, 2 churches so far.
Very good.
Also keep in mind that also nonprofits also qualify for funding.
Is our 501c6s still up in the air? I know that was a question for a while as to whether it had to be a 501c3 versus C6.
I'll have to look into that, Warren, because there are certain ones that are listed that are eligible.
Yeah, it is.
Not all nonprofits.
Yeah, we just saw the announcement, nonprofits. So yeah, we can expand it. We can look for the research and find out if they also qualify.
Wonderful. Dr. Reyes, Carmen, if you want to give that website for the college, that's a good spot, again, to find easy to locate resources and information on most of these programs. Can you give that web address again, please?
Let me first the number again, 505-566-3528. We also have they can contact us also via email at sbdc@sanjuancollege.edu or the website sanjuancollege.edu/SBDC.
So you just add an SBDC to the San Juan College website, you're on your way to getting what you need. And so we are trying to be more central in providing information. The city has our own list of resources, but we also link back to this site that the college has put together very diligently. As I mentioned, the Quality Center for Business houses a lot of the resources for businesses in this community. So take full advantage of that. Any other questions before we wrap this call up? We've been very efficient, I think, and thank you all for all the great insights and information you've been able to provide to our community.
Thank you.
Thank you. You guys have done a great job putting it all together.
Happy to do so. Well, with that, we've got about 4 minutes left. I just want to thank all of our callers or participants that have chimed in with questions. Don't hesitate to email or call any of us with further questions if you have them. We're here at your disposal as well. As the Director of Economic Development for the City of Farmington, I want to encourage people, if they do have specific questions about certain programs, I'm happy to assist as well. And if I don't know the answer, I will certainly pass you on to the person that does know the answer. But again, I'm working my darndest to find as much of that information as possible as well. But thank you all for participating, and thanks again to our first responders and all the people that are essential, that are really putting their well-being and their time ahead of ours and keeping us safe. We do again encourage social distancing. It's part of the process that we're encouraging for our community to keep everyone safe, while the folks that are out there responding to emergencies are keeping us safe. So thank you all again. This has been a wonderful call, and I thank you all for your insights. And this will be posted later, so if you missed the full live feed, this will be available later, and we'll post it on our website and have it available for those to consume after hours. So thank you again, and have a wonderful rest of your day.